Hello everyone, my name is Nelson from Nelcave, and today I'm going to introduce you all to Drupal. Now, if you could all remember correctly, 2 weeks ago I first introduced you all to Graph CMS and how you can add and modify pages to your website using the Classic and Gutenberg editors. And last week I introduced another content management system called WordPress and how you can do the same as well as apply various themes and plugins to your site. And now today I'm going to introduce you all to Drupal and how you can create some content on your site and add various fields to that site. So one thing to note with Drupal is that it also provides framework for your backend infrastructure, which involves databases. Now, a database is a structured system that stores and organizes data. So if we could take a look at this this diagram here. All right, one thing to know, this diagram in the database field is called a schema. So in this schema, we have courses, instructor, and room that is portrayed in a square. We call these as our content. Right? So in that content is a big chunk of data, and with that data includes various fields. So for example, the room content has the fields of capacity, name, and details. The course content has fields labeled title, credits, status, and description. And another thing to note is the triangles, which is how the different content relates to each other. So, for example, the course has a relationship of teacher that is pointing directly to the instructor, which means that that course or whatever course it may be is being taught by that instructor here. And with Drupal, there's a special system that allows you to be able to set that schema up. So if I were to go to my Drupal website here, and I go to structure, and I go to content types, I've already created the three content in that schema diagram here. So I create the course, instructor, and room content, and if I hit manage fields, these are all the fields I listed for the course content. Okay. So now that we have that all set up, I'm going to demonstrate you all how to use that and have that implement in our website or like in the front end. So if I go to content and I hit add content, and let's say I want to add some courses. So I'm going to go to courses, and for a course, I'm going to create a course here. So I'm going to create just a random course I have in mind, Econ 104, and from there I'm just going to fill in these fields. So description box is optional, so as of now I'm not going to fill that in, but course title, credit, status, let's say active teacher. I'm going to say Professor Smith. Location, I'm going to set it to building. So basically what I'm doing is I'm in the course content and I'm just filling out a field, all the fields for a course. So once I hit save, there should be a data type that is created for that course content. So now that I created this data for the course content, if I go to my schedule, so the course got created here. So basically, it's my schedule page. I create this page that basically shows a table and lists out all the courses that I created from the content from the content page. So I basically click on add content and I add a bunch of courses. And with that, if I go to the my schedule page, it shows all the courses that I have here. Now let's say I want to create another content in my schema. So let's say with other than course, room, and instructor, I want to create a content called, so let's go with a student's content, because this schema is basically related to our educational system. So it will make sense to have a student content and how it could relate to the courses the students is taking. So what I could do to create a new content is I go to structure, and I hit content types, and then I hit add content type. So name, I'm gonna make this a name of student. And label, I'll just name it student as well. And I hit save. And now that I created my content, I want to be able to add fields to that content. So students, I'm going to give it a field of name, major, and possibly their whether or not they're like a senior or junior. So first for the name, that could be a text type. Name. Oh, if the text listed, no worries. Gonna hit save. Okay, so now that I added the name, I'm gonna add the other fields like the major. So I'm gonna type in major here. Gonna hit save. And lastly, I'm going to enter in their year, but since the year of the student is either going to be a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior, I want to be able to only limit that choices to those 4 categories. So for the type, I could do something like a list, which is this option here, so list, and then I'm going to type in year. That's my label. So I'm going to hit save and continue. Okay, so allowed value list, I'm going to type in freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. I'm going to assume that each category in the list will be separated by enter, so I'm going to write the list like this. Okay, so I'm going to hit save. Okay, and it works. So I'm going to hit save again. Okay, so I created my content in the list of fields related to that to the student content, and now I want to be able to create a relationship such that the relationship is related to the courses. So I'm going to add another field, and I'm going to give this a type of reference. Yeah, so the reference category, I'm going to choose content, and the label, I'm going to say the student enrolls, right? So that's like a relationship with courses. The student is enrolled in, a certain course. So I'm going to hit save and continue. I'm going to hit save. Okay. And now for the reference type, I'm going to have this enrolls relationship to reference course, which is another content in my schema. And I'm going to hit save. Okay, so there you have it. I created a content, the fields, and I relate that content with my course content. So now what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to go back to content, and I'm going to hit content, add content, and now that the student content is added there, I'm going to create a student. Right, so student, I'm going to write my name here. Major, data science major, senior, and I'm enrolled in content. So that's an option here. So I'm going to hit save. Okay, so I created a student. So now what I wanted to be able to do with that student content is I want to create another page that would list out all the students. So what I could do here is I'm going to go to structure, and I'm going to hit views. I think it's views. Okay, I'm going to hit add view. Okay, so I'm going to say students to be, so that I can name that page I'm on. And I wanted to show student, create a page. Okay, and I'm going to leave all of this default. So now that I save that page, I'm now being directed to this page where I could be able to modify anything that is in that page. So for me to add a table, let's say I want to add a table that contains a list of students. For that page, I go to fields, or not fields. Okay, under the format category, I'm going to show fields, and I'm going to apply that. And now under the fields category, I'm going to hit add, and from there, I'm going to add the student content. I can find it. Student. Oh, perfect. So here are the list of fields that I created for a student. Now I want to be able to show all the information about that student, so I'm going to just check for the body, which basically includes all that fields related to the student that I created. So I'm going to hit adding configure, I'm going to hit apply. Okay. And under the format, I want it to look like a table, so I'm going to change that, hit apply. And from there, I'm going to hit save. Now the preview is not showing a table. Okay, I'm going to hit this menu field. I'm going to hit normal menu entry. I'm going to type in students. Okay, I'm going to leave everything as is. I'm going to hit apply, and hopefully this shows up in my home page. Okay, now it's showing up. Okay, so if I go to students, and my name is listed here, which is expected. But I'm still trying to figure out how to make it look like a table. But with that, I think I could just get rid of this field called body, and I'm just gonna place each individual field in the table. So students, I'm gonna add all these fields here, add and configure, apply and continue. I'm gonna click on that. Okay, and I hit save. And I go back to my site here, it should update. Okay, and there you have it. The only problem is that my name does not show. Okay, so there seems to be some formatting issue with my table, but I'm sure I could fix that easily. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so apparently I added a course title which I could get rid of here. So I'm gonna remove it, save. Okay, now I go back to the site. That should get rid of the formatting. Okay, and it did. So yeah, that was pretty brutal, but you know, we managed to get through with it. But just to make sure everything's running smoothly, I'm going to add another content for my student. So I'm going to create another student content. So here I'm just going to say David Smith. Just want to double check everything, see if everything's running smoothly. Here, junior, hit save. Okay, so now I go back to the site here. Okay, so updated perfectly. So yeah, that's basically how you could create a content in Drupal and how you could create a tab to review that content. Definitely one of the biggest takeaway about Drupal is that when you're doing the backend development, it's definitely important to focus on certain details and how you can navigate to various links in both the content and the structure to kind of achieve your goal, basically. Now compare that to just your standard programming for your backend or front end development. I think with Drupal, it does gives people who aren't fluent in programming an opportunity to implement some backend infrastructure to their site. Now, although it is a bit challenging to use Drupal at first, I think it's all about taking practice, getting enough practice, and sort of just learn as you go, basically. And that's basically what I did here. There are certain links and options that I wasn't aware of, but I hope I'm able to produce just the basic content and how you could navigate around Drupal. So this basically concludes my video. I hope you all learned something today, and I'll see you next week for a brand new video. Okay, see you.